All right, good morning. Today is Friday. It's the last day of the week. We'll take a quick look at what we have on the docket for today. So again, it's just a recap of yesterday. Want to be on the lookout and see if we have continuation from consumer discretionary and possibly, from technology as well. We do want to keep an eye on staples for defensive, the financials, and the healthcare, who was a bit weak yesterday. So yeah, we'll keep a lookout for them. And Friday, we've already had our 5:30 data. We'll look and see the response of that. And we have the speaker later on, and then some 7 o'clock data, which should be like lower to mid tier. Regarding the earnings, really not too much coming out for today. And then just for the quote from Iron Rand, the question isn't who is going to let me, it is who is going to stop me. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our day so far. Let's pull into my Notion on the other side. So overnight notes, take a quick look at this. This would be the ES, just from a quick glance from the close of prior session. Is this bullish or bearish? This would be bearish. We're closing, end up having some sort of rejection, failure to get to the high of August 1st. And we ended up selling off. Leg couldn't hold the VWAP, and now we're crashing back into the VPOC for the composite and the prior days IB high. So a nice buying opportunity for buyers, but just a quick glance at this overnight session would be considered bearish. We'll look at the NQ, which should be the same situation. Failure above that same high on August 1st. Ended up bouncing to overnight. The overnight action ended up going to the prior steady high, where we were finding support. The VPOC for the composite for NQ is much higher, which is a bad sign for buyers. Good for the bears regarding positioning. Okay, cool. So, ask ourselves the same questions: where's the market coming from? As we discussed yesterday in our day review, full flag for the week. And if this is the Friday, Monday consolidation, Tuesday impulse, Wednesday consolidation, Thursday impulse, and this is where we're opening from. So we had a little excursion higher, didn't break that high, and now we're pulling back. This is only maybe like a quarter of that move. So somewhat expected. We didn't really have that much excursion prior days, but we'll look a little more details shortly. Same situation for the NQ. Consolidation impulse, possible rejection. Looking at the actual stats, this is still lower volume, relatively speaking. But when looking at the bull market trend on our way to the highs, this will be considered maybe a little above average for the volume at 250,000 so far. Really not too much to look at the footprint because again, this is lighter volume, but we do have a P-shaped-ish profile with some good positioning for sellers and some ill-positioned buyers for the overnight. So what was the market trying to accomplish? And is there any surprises? Their main goal was to build volume higher, if not hold, and give minimum pullback. So pulling back to the IB high is somewhat expected. Um, we'll really know more. We'll have more information once we start RTH. So as of right now, we're bullish on the macro. Intermediate is wishy-washy. If zero being the middle, it's maybe point 0.5 to bull or to the bears, given we're protecting this gap, former gap that is, and just these highs. Again, we'll know more information in the overnight and see if this is going to be rejection from the high and some emergency to the downside. So there was indeed an SOC, which again, somewhat minimal data, but we'll go ahead and take a look at this still because of the reaction, which was nice. We end up having our reaction at the 55.51s all the way down to the 55.42. So again, this really isn't too much here. This is like 9 points, but we'll go ahead and mark it for the hell of it. We'll do our references shortly. Same situation for the NQ from the 512 to the 466. It's a very minimal excursion to the downside. Yeah, we'll see if we have any similar posture types. We do have the 7 a.m. data, so something to be mindful of, but we'll hold off for that. This footprint is showing the former RTH, so we'll wait here. Alright, so that was a relatively small response for the SOC zone. We'll see if we have any particular plays related to this. The somewhat expected range, given the lower tier amount of data, possibly just giving a nice opportunity for the buyers, but again, we'll know more for RTH. Let's see. We'll go ahead and take a look at the quote board. See what we're looking at for the day. All right, so we'll go ahead and clear this out here. All right, so as of right now, we have everyone red so far. We have NQ leading down, but it's not a terrible lead down. Typically, anytime they're leading, they'll be up by 20, 30 basis points for the most part, so it's somewhat controlled. I'm not sure if this is more controlled on the seller side or if this is just weakness from ES, even more so that they're in step with the NQ, relatively speaking. But again, as RTH happens, there might be a little more separation here. I digress. YM isn't doing too bad. RTY is up there with is down there with NQ. All right, let's look at the equities. So for the leader, we'll go ahead and clear out these as well. This is just some notes. So we have NVIDIA leading down. So we want to see how NVIDIA responds. Meta, we'll be on the lookout for them as well. Holding for communications. Eli Lilly, they're down 1% as well. Broadcom and Tesla. So definitely want to look out for Tesla for discretionary. Meta for communications, but Google is doing okay. We'll have NVIDIA for tech and for the semiconductors. Same with the Broadcom because they can pump pretty. They're pretty important as well. And we'll take a look at Tesla because Tesla was on some other shit yesterday. The only one that we have green as of right now, I know we have leftover for real estate, but we just disregard them now and energies as well. But we have utilities being green. So again, this seems to be similar to that situation where we're going to more a defensive mode here. So they were breaking out initially. So maybe some money is flowing here again while we have industrials down 12, 16 for finance. So we'll definitely want to look at finance and see how they're doing. And then healthcare again. XLK, we can look at TEG, XLY, we'll just look at Amazon and Tesla for now. We want to see if the defensives are going to get some love here for the consumer staples. And again, we're not going to pay too much attention to the communications, but we have Google and Meta up there for now. We do have the VIX up 1.7%, down 2% for crude, up 1.3 for gold. So very nice overall. As of right now, I would say this looks a bit bearish as well. However, this will be slightly bearish as this isn't too exaggerated, and it's really important it's important to see how we respond off the open. All right, so we have a quote board. We already went over our catalysts. I'm not going to look at news right now because I don't want to digest that at the moment. I don't think there's any headlines. Actually, let me go ahead and take a quick peek at my news source and see if there's anything worth mentioning just from a hyper glance. Yeah, I don't even really want to process this right now, to be transparent. Okay, so again, we've done a good job of seeing our prices. As of right now, we're trading at the 500s for NQ, and we're trading at the uh, about the 550 for ES, with our low being the 36 and the high being the 83. So as of right now, for the range, we got about 47 for ES and about 236 for NQ. So very nice range so far just in an overnight session. We had a little bit of excursion to the upside, definitely had some excursion to the downside. Looking at the actual market profile, again, this is that P shape that we were talking about. We even have some singles that we're trying to get into. We'll see if those gets filled. Actually, we'll go ahead and mark this just for the heck of it. It's a good chance this just gets filled as soon as we do our TH. I'm just gonna say today. I'm not saving this. Yeah, really not too much here. I'll look at possibly marking up some zones, but we'll take a few minutes to calibrate our system, make sure that we understand what we're looking at for today, and understand that we do see a bit bearishness, and a lot of people are in the, let me not say a lot of people, but I understand there's some confusion on why we're going up so high so fast, and it's a possibility that this is, just unfathomable for some people, and that's okay. I understand some people have limiting beliefs on the market. I do not. So I understand that anything can happen at any time. So we're gonna go ahead and just keep a eye on how everything is going objectively. I'm just double checking my pre-market notes. So again, as of right now, I don't have a specific place I want to do business. I do like that we're at this volume point of control for the composite, and then we have for the 530s for ES, and we have singles right below it, which is from yesterday. So depending on how we respond with these singles in this contract premium zone, do remember once we bust through these singles in this contract premium zone, which is just key from a narrative standpoint, in my perspective, we also have the weekly balance. And just more balance, just in the composite as a whole. It's really key for the buyers to protect the 5450s. Once we get below that, then I believe you may have some hurt, possibly. But again, we won't speculate too much with this here. We absolutely need more information for us to stay aligned, for us to continue to stay in alignment with the market, and again, not put any sort of biases or expectations on the market itself. So we don't really have too much going on here for price squawk. Again, this is a little early in the day. We do have the 7 a.m. Consumer preliminaries, I believe, consumer sentiment preliminaries, if I recall. So we'll see how the response is for that. Maybe we may have a little more information. But as of now, I'm going to check my catalog and see if we have any particular references for this bearish response and kind of finding our way back above. It may be a situation where we come up and test like this higher zone here and then potentially maybe shoot back up and then maybe like retest somewhere back in this zone. You know, it could be something of that nature, or maybe a situation where we ended up just maybe peaking above and then just heading back down, possibly protecting this overnight low. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on mute. Leave these screens here. Be right back. All right, we'll see if we can do the clock today. So FYI, we do have about 5 minutes. All right. Someone got a bunch of orders out right before, right at that 5 minutes. Interesting to see. We'll zoom in down here so we can see what these 3 minute candles look like. Again, right here we have the SOC. So we'll see the response from this moment here. All right, I'll be right back.
Block cell. Block cell. Welcome. Mark it.
All right, I got Price Squawk up and running. We have about 1 minute. I saw that little impulse there. We'll see how we respond. Yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit more information here. This isn't enough to sway me to go short. At most, I may need to just wait for a possible like buy opportunity. But as of right now, we'll need to see a little more information. I don't believe I have anything specific to this, but I'm still looking. And again, this is fairly minimal, so this may be a situation where we just have to trade a little bit more of the actual price action. See tech is like breaking out. All right, we'll go ahead and let it play
Block
now.
cell.
We'll go ahead and throw on the price squawk.
Block cell. Squawk. Recenter. Block buy. Block cell. Block cell. Head offer. Head offer. Block cell. Recenter. Block buy. Block buy. Head offer. Recenter. Block cell. Head offer. Recenter. Recenter.
A little bit of nice volume here.
Head offer. Recentered. Recentered. Head offer.
Poked above.
Recentered. Recentered. Block by. Recentered. Recentered. Recentered.
I need to fix every center. Bear with me.
Block cell. Head offer. Head offer. Recentered. Head offer.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn off that auto center alert. Turn it off. It was doing a recentered and that offer. That's the recentering alert. It's from the tick compression for NQ. So NQ ended up piercing that low from that SOC zone and immediately pushed back up. So very nice. We'll see if that is sustained. Actually, let me take off these studies for right now. We'll put the studies back on once we have a little more information. Because as of right now, it's kind of throwing off the alignment of everything. So again, I'm not looking either way right now. I have no real indication of who will be the stronger hand. As of right now, we're bullish on a higher time frame. In the immediate time frame, it's about neutral, maybe favoring bearish case if you're looking at structure, or slightly bullish if you're looking at more weighted to the recent action. But do remember that bears cases are much more violent and there's no hope. Once you get to a certain area, you're really not going to pierce that area. There's a good chance you're going to get like rejected, and it's going to be a lot of pain, and it's going to be a swift session back
Block
down.
buy.
Um, we're not really seeing any kind of force from the seller side, so I still would imagine that buyers are going to be in control. You really don't have that threat coming from the bear case as of now. What a ugly candle for the NQ to start, but that was indicative of what we saw on the tape. Taking a look at the coil board so far to see how we've changed since the open. Again, we don't pay attention to the equities because they open up at the night before, but we're more looking at the equity indices rather. Well, we're looking at the actual equities to see who's doing what. So Tesla is still thumping from yesterday, which is still pretty good. They're already up a 1.2%. Nvidia is doing well. So two of the ones that we're keeping an eye on are doing well, but also Broadcom is not doing too well. Eli Lilly is selling off a little bit. Seeing some nice action from the financials, about negative 15 basis points for healthcare, and consumers are not really doing. They're down 7 basis points as of now. XLU is down 18. VIX is still doing what it's doing. So again, we're working off minimal information here. As of right now, this appears to be some defense from the seller side, not letting them get above this SOC high. ES didn't care about that at all, completely burst through it and closed on the first candle. We'll see if that's something that's sustained or if they're going to find their way back in. Because it may be a situation where it's like a look and fill, but you do have ES that's leading. And this is what we were talking about a little earlier on. Um, it's not often that these two are this close with each other, being down now only like 10%, but they were down less than 10%. The difference between these were less than 10%. Um, a tenth of a percent, 10 basis points earlier. They normally have a little more separation. All right, we'll go ahead and let price blocks speak. Lighter volume, a little halt. So we're probably gonna have a little impulse here. That's the first 5 minute candle there. Nice little hold above this SOC. But again, we have some work to do to get above that area. But definitely you can't doubt the bulls given the strength. 130-minute candles. It's been nonstop this whole time. Possible for a pullback. We'll see. We're not here to speculate. We're here to observe and be objective. If ES pushes above here, I would imagine NQ is going to follow. Very nice day when NQ is following ES. You need something?
Block sell.
We may see a little move down. We got another 12 seconds. There's a little stall. You had some sellers should be a little aggressive. Said fuck it, and kind
Block
of got
sell.
out, trying to beat it to that minute candle. We'll see if this is sustained. We have to give this a grade, 0 being neutral or the wishy-washy. I'll say maybe this is like maybe a 1 at most. Buyers are doing their best to defend. Sellers are catching them off guard a little bit. We're not chasing it up. Right now, we'll be back to the 0. Back in the middle of this range. We're under the VPOC for RTH. At the VPOC for ES. We got another 25 seconds. We will see how The buyers respond. Got some passive sellers on NQ that's being filled. Again, we're still in that wishy-washy situation here. We do have 7 a.m. data, which may not be uber important, but it's not insignificant. So we'll see how we respond possibly there. I think we just need a little more information, but looks like we're going to have some excursion higher. If we have ES that's kind of pushing, I see no reason NQ can't follow, but it really depends. So we wait. Got some buyer delta at the highs on both sides. If we continue to trade below the VWAPs on both sides, I would imagine we may have maybe a test of this low. But again, we're still sitting a bit wishy-washy at the moment. Got 8 seconds to finish this 3-minute bar. And then another minute. And we'll be looking at one more minute. This will be the second 5-minute candle. It's not a good sign for ES. We got double highs, which just taken out. I would imagine we're going to have some stop runs. And just a little weird structure. We're still not out of this box for NQ. So if we do get out of this box, it's incredibly important to see how we respond, whether it's with continuation or do we poke up and head back down.
Block buy. Block sell.
Okay, holding. So was that before the 5-minute candle? No, this is to start the new 5-minute candle. Nice. So that should be just, oh, this is on the 1-minute candle, right? Yeah, that's gonna catch a lot of people off guard. But again, do we hold some nice volume here? For whatever reason, seller delta is a little higher here. So definitely some little bit of aggression. Let's see if that continues. Yeah, this may be a day where you have to like mark out some levels, but given like the way this is like slanted, I'm not really interested in this for the most part. I mean, we can look at our DGP so far, see where our open is. Possibility that we may, if we can hold up here at the top of this A bracket to close, I would imagine maybe with that 7 a.m. we have maybe a little excursion down and kind of see. Yeah, I don't really have enough information. I don't want to over speculate if something is not clear to me like then and there. Um, then I shouldn't try to talk myself into a trade. Either it makes sense there or it doesn't. Really not too much going on here on the footprint. Nothing more than we can't see on the DOM. Just a little struggle here. I don't really have an opinion on either side. I would assume this may be possible open auction for this first bracket, given the wishy-washy nature overnight selling. and the fact that we ran into the overnight, the prior day's IB high. So a nice take profit area. We definitely got some trap shorts from prior days. We're going to have some longs that need to offset their trades as we head back up. And not to look too much into what other people are thinking to a degree. But are people going to want to take on more risk as we head into Friday? Just something to think about. Yeah, it's just cutting through a little thinly traded area. You can see it here. Most people may just look at it on the volume profile. You'll see the same thing. I like just like being able to see the delta. I may one day end up removing this, but I like the way this I like the way this looks. This bid and ask column. Look at this engulfing candle ish on the NQ. Let's take a look at this quote board because we're getting ready to be. Actually, we'll wait one more minute. It'll be the
Block
15-minute
5.
mark. I want to see. I want to see how everybody's doing so far. Any specifics? And then just a reminder for myself. I'm not seeing too much of a lean to the bearish side, given we're in our prior day's range, almost in our prior day's range, which has a lot of consolidation here in that IB in that first full hour. But we definitely have some nice progress to the downside so far in the overnight session. And again, on the intermediate time frame, I mean, you can say that bears have a case. Look at this. This could be a possible, like a little bear rally, short covering rally. We're not over here at this. We didn't pass the 5,600. We fell 14 points shy. And stuff like this happens in bear markets where you fall a little bit short, and then you typically have like a nice steep decline. But again, we don't want to lean too much to the shorter side as they've been getting their ass kicked recently. So we're already past our 15-minute mark. Another 7 seconds, and we'll be at 16 minutes. We'll go ahead and drop this full session profile. I mean, this full session for a little bit of a cleaner look. And then we'll check our DGPs shortly. You can see the little small gap down. Again, not terrible. We did have some excursion above. Sold off, which caused this little gap down. Still above the VWAP and VPOC for ES. And we're kind of stuck between this sandwich here between VWAP and VPOC for NQ, which you can see on the RT8 session here at the bottom right. Kind of stuck between that little area. ES is on their way down. Let's go ahead and check out this here quote board. Okay, so the ones that we want to keep an eye on. Microsoft is selling off. We didn't look at Microsoft, but Nvidia is doing pretty well. If they're not able to hold, that was a nice little surge there that they had, about 25 basis points, and they're still rising. We may see a little follow up here. It's nice to be able to look at the quote board. Meta is not doing too well there, but Google is offsetting them, down 60, up 60 basis points. Eli Lilly's being able to hold in strong, about 40 basis points up, down 60 basis points for Broadcom, and up 2.6% for Tesla. So the fact that they're up and we're still down, a lot of this comes from Microsoft. and Meta. But yeah, just the fact that they're up 2.5 and Nvidia is up zero point 0.6, it's just crazy. Just crazy. So there's definitely some weakness here going on somewhere. Just need to figure out exactly where it's coming from and is it sustained. Utilities are not doing well anymore. The only ones that we have green, which is finance, which is awesome to see, especially in a time like this. You have some solid behavior from finance, and then we're not doing too bad on the healthcare sector. It's very nice overall. Communication is green as a whole, and that's that balancing from Meta and Google for sure. The consumer staples are doing pretty decent. VIX is still kind of going up a bit. VIX has a small gap up, and we're kind of trading just a little higher, but it's kind of moving around a little bit, so we don't want to look too much into that. All right, I'll go ahead and drop this off the screen. Put these into 15-minute candles. I had them on 30 still. Notice all the sellers. If we can get above, to be a nice little play for the bulls. We'll definitely have some potential buyers at higher prices. Possibility of that open auction that I was referring to. Still moving about sideways here. It's a possible open auction on the NQ. And then kind of an open auction for ES, depending on how we finish here. But as of right now, we got one bullish bar up, and then just kind of balancing sideways, and then another up, and then kind of drifting a little lower, and now we're kind of going back up. So it may just be one of these, looks like a possible like grinding day, but really think it depends on if we have any kind of curveballs thrown with this data,
Block buy.
any kind of order flow events. And we really need all the technology to kind of help because again, we go where tech goes. Let's go ahead and throw this quote board back up here. All right, so we'll go ahead and take a snapshot at 6:50. So about 20 minutes in, we want to see how we are responding after this data. So we'll
Block
take a
buy.
quick peek before the data and we'll look at it afterwards. So that was a nice little surge from the video.
Block buy.
Broadcom is starting to step back up. We're seeing Meta pick it up, Microsoft and Apple as well. Very nice overall. Once we hit a new high for ES, that should be about that gap fill. I need to use this a little more.
Block buy.
Even if we get into a situation where we have like a potential pullback to this SLC high, ideally that would be nice because that would be a pullback to the impulse as well. However, I can't say that I feel uber comfortable. I feel uber comfortable in this situation. Yeah, maybe like a test back. Yeah, you break through this SOC high, maybe hit this open. Possibility there, but you're from the open to the low. For the RTH low, it's about 2 points. So depending on what the order book looks like, maybe, but it's just awfully close to this prior day's range. Seeing some nice selling on a dome, some extending a little downwards. So all that extending, we're already pushing back up. So we want to see if this is going to be sustained. We just need more time. Again, this is one of those situations. You have a question, but we don't have enough information to answer it. But looks like it may be a day for a potential slow grind if I had to give my 2 cents on it, because we're
Lot
definitely
5.
having some sellers that are trying, but we are being sturdy and pushing back up. It may not be the prettiest thing. Again, I'm curious if we're gonna get like a little curve ball to maybe disorient some people for the 7 a.m. data. Maybe it's a nice push through some more of this range of the overnight. Again, let's kind of look at this overnight session here. Don't want to look too much into this.
Block sell. Block sell.
Nice little selling on the Dom who want to see their response. Yeah, I'm not gonna look too much into the I'm not gonna look too much into the overnight. Again, because we're extremely close to the prior day's action. It's a little more important there. Notice we're not trading above this SOC high for the NQ. We get above, close, trade above, kicked out. Right away from the midpoint, close above, we're getting kicked back
Block
out
5.
again. So this is going to be one of these days of the grindy nature. You need to kind of grind, but it's possibility. Yeah, again, I think the 7 a.m. data is going to be pretty helpful into what we see. Maybe we can redraw our zones. We'll have a different kind of reaction or something of that nature. But as of right now, we don't have enough information to go off of. Since that time, we had a nice little push from NVIDIA, Tesla, Broadcom. They're doing all the work. Technology can't do it by themselves. So I'm assuming we had a decrease. Yeah, just the heavier weighted ones. Apple and Microsoft ended up selling off. So kind of balance that out. Finance is still holding. Everyone else is still holding in here. Yeah. So I mean, as of right now, this is very productive, very productive start for the ES. Again, the potential open auction that I spoke about for the NQ. And may have another open auction here for the ES with a possibly bullish skew, but we'll see. So if we think about two different ways that this can play out, let's say that this is a bearish response and we close bearish for the 3 minute candle. We'll just be back into the range of this SOC zone, which will be pretty much
Block
a
sell.
hands-off situation for me. Pretty much will be hands-off. So yeah, if we find our way back into this range, I'm gonna have to pass. I can't really eye myself doing like a pullback, giving the sell-off that we've had, and buying into the prior days range. If we end up having a situation where we come down and close back up, that may be something I'm a little interested in, but I'll need to see a way to get back in. So maybe a situation where we have a little more excursion up, possibly fall down into maybe like the full session VWAP, IB high, maybe like our 5S or something of that nature. Maybe something like this. But again, that'd be a bit forced because yeah, we are in the prior days range. This is just a lot of overhead traffic here. Now, I don't really feel too comfortable in this situation. if there is a situation where we break and we find ourselves drifting down here, we're kind of like collapsing and we're just like building volume and it's just kind of getting worse depending on what we're seeing on the order book. I wouldn't be opposed to taking a potential short as we break this close of that SOC candle, which is this is the close, and see if we have any more excursion to the downside. But even still, we have more overnight action here with the test that we already had of the prior day's
Block
range.
buy. Block sell.
So it may be a situation where we have another leg lower, but again, we need more information. We simply don't have enough. As unfortunate as it is, we can't make a whole ass setup in front of our eyes. This is unclear. So I'll
Block
go
buy.
ahead and be quiet here. We have another minute and 10 seconds. Possible open auction, as I mentioned, for NQ. A lot of volume. See how we're doing on volume just as a whole. Still trash. Yeah, still trash. Yeah, a lot of this is going to be dependent on this consumer sentiment preliminaries. Again, this is more of like lower to mid tier at most. So we may not have much
Buy.
excursion on either side. It may be a situation where it's a bear or a bull trap, but you may have some people that may liquidate as we head into that number. Because if you're bullish, you're just kind of buying anything, you can get ran over right here. If you're bearish, hoping that you can push a little lower, you may have a little bit of advantage given the ill positioned buyers. But again, we'll see. We're seeing more sellers than buyers here, but the buyers are a little more congested and they have worse position. Buyers are right here at break even and maybe a little bit negative. But I digress. We got 3 seconds. Let's see. Very light. Not much volume at all. We're kind of doing some excursion a little higher, getting ready to break these highs. There's going to be
Block
settlement
sell.
there. I would imagine we're going to have some sort of resistance once we hit about here. And Q didn't break that area. Again, this is NQ that we're listening to. I didn't discuss a situation where it's a look above and fail, but that's wholeheartedly a possibility as well. But I'm not seeing any kind of edge here, especially here with the NQ. Our rule dictates that there's an open auction that we need to sit on the sidelines, possibly for another bracket. This may be that upside potential that I was referring to. That's the whole minute. So the actual 1 minute candle of this is pretty bullish on the ES, kicking us out of this range above settlement.
Block buy.
And as of right now, lower high for the NQ. We'll take a look and see how everyone is doing. Go ahead and grab a snapshot here near these highs. The video sold off a little bit, 27 basis points. Tesla's up almost another percent since we did our last check. But we're checking here. This is right at 701. We'll see how we're responding here. So the players that we wanted to see are still doing pretty well. So this is good to see. So yeah, it may be a situation where we end up like grounded back up. ES is still trading above that range. Oh yes, I wanted to double check the settlement. Settlement is actually 67.50. And we're getting ready to hit that. Boom. That's done. Settlement for NQ is 580. So we have a little ways to go. Very nice for ES. We're definitely gonna do a different candle, a different chart drawing for this possibly. If we close back into this IV, this is gonna be pretty bad for the Bulls. A bad showing, rather. All right, that's 3 minutes. Just kind of seeing some notes. I'm just putting some drawings here to see how we're reacting to these levels, how we're trading around these zones. Zoom in on this 138, looking nice. Possibility for some higher prices. Just looking at this, the way this is forming so far. This candle should finish sometime soon. Yeah, another minute. This 138-minute candle will be done. Very nice. Again, I'm not really seeing anything. VIX is getting its butt whooped. Definitely a good check on the bull side. You're seeing NQ possibly leading now. If you're gonna do any kind of like correlation scout, you'll want to see these two working together. So from what I've seen recently, it's not early on the same push. It tends to be ES is leading, NQ is the lagger. And then we try to switch, and NQ is the lagger. NQ will lead, and then ES will be the lagger. We seem to get to a situation where we're both kind of doing it at the same time. So now they're starting to push. They can definitely push ES higher because they've been doing well without tech. But typically, you want to see them both kind of pushing at the same time. That's where you have some of the best momentum, if you will. But notice NQ is already pushing above their highs. You can see if you're on the DOM as well. Again, we have a lot of ill-positioned shorts here. They're definitely a little more aggressive at the open. But we want to see this sustain. We'll look at this cold board and see what's going on. Why is it that tech is popping, but everyone else is not? Up 14 basis points versus 2. Not that they're doing bad, but they're not doing as good. Everyone else is doing good, but Tech is the only one doing well right now. Up a whole percent for Nvidia. This is nice. Tesla's finally took a damn break. Broadcom is up 0.5%, looking good here. Everyone else is kind of sitting sideways. The rest of these sectors are taking a break as they should. This may be the time where this the break is somewhat common. So we'll see if there's any sort of continuation. If we have any kind of pullback, possibly pulling back to this open for this 7 a.m. data, which is at the 58, 558, or the SOC open for NQ for the 7 a.m., which is the same spot as their mid and their open. So yeah, we're looking at anything here, maybe a pullback into the middle of this range. Again, maybe a pullback into the middle of this range will be more of what I'm looking at for a potential buy on a pullback. But as we have this overhead structure above us, I'm not too eager to go to the long side. We still have fix dropping down for us. So again, no particular trade that I see now. Nothing in my playbook that Looks familiar for me. We would need to see some excursion above with a pullback from this reaction. If we go below us, we have the area, we have the RTH structure below us, a little bit of the overnight structure, and this SOC zone to contend with as well. So again, a bit wishy-washy. I stand with my previous statement that this was about a maybe a half a point, maybe a +1 at most on the bullish side, able to catch the sellers off guard. But we're having that same situation with the sellers catching the buyers off guard as well. So bullish, bulls have a little bit of the favor, given the higher intermediate short time posture. Bears have the advantage over the overnight session and between the intermediate term. It's kind of like neutral-ish on the intermediate time frame, but still more favor to the bulls, but not overly bullish where everyone is green and you need to look for ways to buy earlier. That's definitely not the case here. We don't appear to be working in tandem today. Again, we have managed expectations for today. Take a look at the daily again, just a reminder of where we're at. Monthly, weekly, and the daily. Same situation here, monthly, weekly, and a daily. I believe this was a should have been a lower high. Indeed. The structure that we're seeing isn't really making sense. Using this SOC zone for the most parts, the way I do my drawings. I came in with the expectation this may be a little bit clouded. That appears to be the case. Again, I'm not putting my projections onto the market, but a bit fuzzy for me to read. And I'm not really getting anything from the order book either. We have some passives that are in play on NQ. See a little black spot there. Again, NQ is trying to lead, but we're not having ES that's pushing with them. We need to be pushing toward at the same time. And once you see that, you really got to get in. And if we end up falling back and not holding, then there's definitely a sign there of when what should happen doesn't. But we're not seeing that right now. We're seeing ES kind of stumbling a little bit. I'm giving the quote board some time to kind of work and do its thing. Let everyone play themselves out, digest all the information that we've had so far. Digest. We're not even in the hour from when the market has been open. So yeah, we just need more information. Gonna go ahead and jump on mute. Just here to say, we ended up hitting the 15-minute mark here. This may be the situation where we're trying to push together, but again, looks can be a bit deceiving. ES is not pushing as much as they should have, but we typically like to do some moves, yeah, at like midway points, 15-minute mark, halfway, hour, shit like that. But again, we're not, we really want to see them just really make a whole push together at the same time. Um, we work best with each other in that way. Take a look at it. It's been 14 minutes that's passed. Again, you can see a 20-point difference, 22 basis points difference for ES and NQ. Tech is doing quite well. Everyone else, not so much. Some people may say weakness. I say that's decent rotation. You have everyone, you have, 30% doing, you have like 40% doing a lot of work while the 60% rest. And then you have the 60% putting in some work while the 40% is resting. I think that's a very healthy rotational market. Now we're kind of pushing toward the highs at the same time. So there'd be a situation for you to possibly go on the tech side since they're doing a little better. But I think ES would be a bit better as a whole, as we're already kind of pushing well above our well above the settlement. We're just now getting to the settlement for NQ, which we didn't hit just yet. Now, again, will this be sustained? I do not know. Frankly, I don't care. I'm flat at the moment. I don't have any positions on, but this is just like good trading here. Again, yeah. And this is what I meant. This is a situation where, well, what should happen doesn't. We want to see how we respond this next 50 seconds, which will end a 3-minute candle. And then after that, we have 2 more minutes that'll end the 5-minute candle. Be pretty interesting to see if we go back above these highs, or if that was a look above and fail for NQ, or a double TPO high, or just a double a two touch high for the ES. So it looks like they're making another attempt here. This will be the time for you to kind of do it. So you have that initial push. You see the space with the NQ. You need anything? You need some commentary? Yeah, I, I can commentary your life. I can commentate your life if you need me to. I'll be the narrator. What am I thinking about? I'm gonna be Homer. I'm gonna be Homer from Odysseus' tale. I'm probably gonna do that pickup. I'm sure you saw my message because not really much going on here, and I'm not gonna force anything. Yeah, we got like another minute here. So I'm gonna cut out after you. This is a bit of that continuation that I was mentioning when they're both working together. You have a little more momentum. Yeah, it just takes a little while, but that's not normal. And that push down, that's not normal. I will say that we're closing above the 5S, which is typically indicative of a possible trend day. We're keeping our momentum high. The NQ is getting pretty close. So is ES. So I mean, if that's something that we can hold, will be nice. But we really got to get some channeling upwards. It's too much um, lower trading. You need to have like higher highs and higher lows the entire time. Again, you can see that without the five smoothing average, but just makes it a little easier to see. We have 9 minutes until the end of this bracket. It's a possibility that we may have another open auction for. Well, actually, no. Yeah, we'll have to have a whole ass pullback. So I mean, yeah, this is very nice. This is a very nice response for the buyers. I'll be interested in doing a potential pull back to this IB high, which would be the close of this SOC candle, depending on how we're holding. This is at the 530s. We'll see how we're kind of doing there. Let me double check. Yeah, we're just about even for the whole day overall. Is that accurate? Yeah, we're just dojing out so far. So I mean, we're just undecided on the day. So you're quite literally buying in the middle ish, which is a cardinal sin. You don't diddle in the middle. Real sleepy action. There's a possibility I may end up stepping away. Go ahead and remove this little drawing here to mark that high.
Block by.
And again, we are above prior day's range. Even if we break our TH low, we're still above our TH range, the prior day's range. And we still have a little bit of cushion before that overnight low. Yeah, the only sell play I would have to be a break and retest. And I'm probably gonna run out of time before I step away. I'm not doing this shit for past 2 hours. Especially not off this action. It's not worth it with what we're seeing currently. NQ filled the gap, by the way. Potentially just using some pattern recognition. This appears to be like a nice little short attempt to see if we can maybe test this IB high VWAP zone. But again, I'm not seeing really any indications to the sell side outside of just like the pattern of having the settlement taken and drifting lower. And having like these more compression doji kind of candles. So yeah, if there's like a situation where you get like a really ugly ass candle, real small body with a long wick, possibly. But again, we're in a really wishy-washy state. I really don't want to take a BS trade just to take it. It's also important to see how we close in the next minute and 20 seconds to see if we're going to stay above the 5 smooth moving average or if we're going to close below. If we close below and then have like some consecutive closes, there may be a heads up that we may have some more room to the downside. If not, this may just be more of what we initially thought the first couple of minutes, I mean, first couple bars in of a possible grind day. Probably possible grind day with some liquidation, and then we end up balancing. Probably would be a bit of a boring day. Just given the information that we have now, and just being quite sleepy. VIX is getting absolutely crushed still. VIX has closed their gap. So it looks like we're going to retain. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon.
Block by.
It's kind of what I was talking about with these little ugly little body candles. Again, not the best small body, longer wick I was talking about, but just real ugly. Just when you look at it, you just like, ugh. You know, that's a little bit of compression here, um, in my perspective.
Block by.
Yeah, I passed. So I'm getting ready to step away, and I'm gonna go run an errand. I'm gonna leave this recording. I'm sure as soon as I step away, we're gonna like go to the moon, or we're gonna go to hell. So I don't care. I'll be back. Also, just a reminder, I am flat. I have no trades. I'm on completely sim. There should be no trades getting ready to yeah, there should be no pending orders or anything like that. No thoughts. At most, I think we may have like a peak above again, and we may end up coming back down. I still believe that we may see a bit of a downside. I'm gonna step away, but again, I think it'd be a good buying opportunity in here, which would be this SOC close and this IB high with the VWAP that should catch up about that time for the NQ. And then you have this nice little sandwich here with the double VWAP bands and the IB high, and then that midpoint of the impulse candle. If if we
Block
even
by.
get that low, again, we may just completely push up. So who knows? I'm leaving.
Block cell.
I was gonna leave, but I have to wait. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave a little shortly. So came back and yes is in that zone with those double bands in the IB high. This is some of that ugliness that I was talking about. Little body, long wicks. Ooh, good point. Yeah, I'm gonna leave. I'll be back.
Block by. Block cell. Block cell. Block cell. Block cell. Block by. Block cell. block by, block cell, block cell, block cell, block by, block by, Block cell. Block by. Block cell. Block by. Block cell. Block by. Block by.
All right, I have made it back. I'll take a look and see what is going on. So this would be a good practice for us to see how to reorient ourselves. All right, since that's 7:01, so it's been a little bit over an hour. Literally move sideways. Wait, seriously? Very nice holds on the open. I mean, this is that upwards and then downwards like this, just the pressure that I was talking about. This may be a potential little short. 6 points. Yeah, it's definitely going to be some kind of reaction shortly. There's a lot of compression here. I have plays where we will kind of poke above and then like smash down. I may, yeah, it's a little. Dang. Sorry, it's just a little much for me right now to kind of go in and drop an execution. The video has been holding. Okay, just take a break, no rush. So -12. So since we've left, I mean, so since 7:01, a little bit over an hour, down -12, up 8, 4, 1, -63 for communications, but they're still trying to even out with Google, even for Berkshire, down -1%, up 25 basis, down almost 2% for Tesla, which is surprising. Plus 38, -33, -22, even. Nice. Not surprised here. How's Amazon doing? It's even, so this is basically just Tesla. I think Home Depot too. So yeah, this is literally even, and you're backing in this range. This feels like a potential buy. I haven't been looking at this, the order book, so we'll take a little look here. So we are at the VPOC under VWAP for yes, under both for sure for EQ.
Block cell.
Yeah, take a quick look at the drawings. We're eating up those singles from today. They've been eaten up at this mid. I probably would have went long here at this midpoint if I would have caught it. So this is basically just a retest here. We ended up breaking a little below here on the NQ. So yeah, this may be like a potential buy here. Got a lot of sellers, negative delta. Let's throw this into a 30-minute. Possibly. Yeah, if we come back down, I'm unlocking my account. Only thing is, and I may have just missed it, but we protected, we couldn't get under those singles. We bounced right off that base from the overnight, at least so far. Doesn't mean we're gonna hold it the whole time. We'll see. We still haven't hit the open for yes. And do not forget, we are we are trading inside of this SOC high for the 530, and we're kind of cradling under the floor for the 7 a.m. SOC for ES. We didn't touch it down here. So again, literally zero as far as the pressure. Seeing pressure, some good pressure on both sides. Again, I've missed the majority of this. We can look more at the footprint. Again, if we want to see any kind of specifics, we can throw this on the 10-minute. Lighter volume pretty much the whole time. We actually picked up after 710, picked up as we went down, and we got a little lighter as we've been sitting sideways. Selling, selling, selling. Big sell here. No response. Yeah, I'm gonna possibly look long. Though this is a specific play that we have to the short side. That's my only issue. So do we go off what's like documented or based off like what we're seeing and feeling, what we're reading from the market? I will give more weight to the experienced, and I'm coming in this purely objective. So we'll see how we hold on this pullback. Same situation. Once we push up, we got another 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds will end this 3 minute candle. But if we end up closing this pretty bullish, I wouldn't be opposed to looking for a small little pullback in that 1 minute candle and seeing how we hold. But this is still very sleepy, very lethargic. Let's see if we can check the volume as a whole. We're just at 600. Yeah, this is very, very mild. Lower highs, lower lows off the VWAP for NQ. Can't stay above that mid. Yeah, I want to see like a little pullback. Then I'll be interested. My apologies for hitting the mic. So we've gotten oriented again. We're bullish on the higher time frame. We're about even on the intermediate. And short time frame will be bullish. Overnight is going to be bearish. In the RTH, I mean, technically we're bull flagging. It's more of a balance kind of posture, but bull flagging indeed. Open drive from the ES and an open test drive. If not, maybe like an open, more like an open test drive for NQ. Having some support, having some support. A nice reaction off the 7 a.m. and a nice hold at that IB high. We have some excursion and close above the VWAP for the full session and end up drifting a little lower. Now we're pulling back to the midpoint. Ideally, I would like to look for a potential order flow event, maybe a situation where we wait until the half hour mark. We just, not that we want confirmation, but it'll be nice just to have a little more information because right now I don't know if I'm taking price risk or if I'm taking information risk. We're not seeing any kind of urgency from the seller. It's a little bit right there, but that's just a little lighter. That's some people trying to front run in front of the end of this mini candle. You should have a little volume pick up here. And then that should subside. And either we're going to continue upwards or more of the wishy-washy behavior. Again, I didn't see any of this. I'm gonna go ahead and clear out this delta. We understand that we have more seller delta below us. I'm assuming the DOM probably froze midway because I've lost some volume here, so I don't know when this reset, but this is fine. Okay, that's a little drift down, and again, it's just a lot slower. It's not as clear when things are when it's low volume like this, but take that's a higher high, that's a higher low right there. Now we have some volume, relative volume here. See, do we get a pullback? We may end up missing it, but this is really hard to tell. I want to see if we have any sort of like pullback down, maybe below the VPOC for ES, which would be the 58 halves. Volume is tighten up from the IB high is 62 to the IB mid is 54. So, I mean, that's about 7 points of range. You can possibly get in here in a little bit and see if you have any kind of excursion, but this low volume I don't like. I would rather play like the ranges here. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. It's gonna be a little slower creep for the most part. I didn't feel comfortable. I'm gonna go ahead and lock my account there, so we're not getting in too late or anything. Of course, you can always buy another time. Now we will be taking price risk, and taking price risk in the balance range doesn't really make sense to me. So we just left the quote book the way that it was. We'll go ahead and make a adjustment here at the 28 and see where we're at. And again, that's the reason I didn't want to buy at that tipping point up there, because it was just more of a balance range. Doesn't mean that we're on the bearish side by any means, but understanding that we're in a balance range, just want to be a little mindful of where we're entering, but also paying attention to the macro and like the little shorter time frame, the micro in the shorter time frame. As far as like context, we did impulse through. Now we're pulling back. This would be the situation where if this is actually going to be bullish, we will hold. Notice the sellers right here. I think just off that, that's some decent information. I didn't actually catch that, but I'm gonna put a bid in. Oh shit, I'm locked. Oh, crap. All right, just take a little deep breath. We got 1 more minute. We're gonna wait. I didn't see how this happened. Very sneakily. So that means that there's a passive buyer here. Some orders trying to come in, front running a little bit. We didn't have much downside pressure off that little attempt. We got buyers holding right here, trying to hold this price. We're gonna see. We're probably gonna leak down a little bit. I want to see if there's gonna be any kind of flurry. Other people are waiting too. Real creepy. I'm nervous to do
Block
this.
sell.
Yeah, I haven't hit the button yet. Real creepy. Real.
Block buy.
Yeah, that was nice. Notice we pushed in volume, but we didn't. The offers weren't lifting. We kind of pushed up. There was like a force above us. So you have buyers that are a bit tentative, and you got sellers that are creeping and probably have like a nice little algo. Yeah, sellers are kind of creeping up. I'm not sure. Once this gets past 350, you'll see this turn black. But you should see this book starting to thicken up on the sell side if that is the case. I don't have the histograms on here because I rather just kind of see the numbers. It's fine. But again, solid hold for ES. Now they're back above their high, and you have NQ who poked above and ended up failing. So say what you like for that situation. And again, I'm still flat, no trades yet. I want to see us get below, kind of bounce off this VPOC. The low of these previous singles were the 50s. Not sure we'll get back down. I'm not seeing really any kind of entries from the volume profile. This is too much volume here. Yeah, taking a breakout on low volume. I don't know. That doesn't feel right to me. I don't think I have to look at it like it's a breakout. I'm just buying at that close of that 3 minute candle. Don't have to put labels on things. Just an idea. It's just a concept. So we got about another 30 seconds. Let's take a look and see what transpired in that time. Not too much movement. RTYs is pushing. That was just tech, finance, industrials, discretionary. Everyone else is just a little lower. As long as Nvidia's holding, they're positive. Tesla's still positive. The ones we wanted to see, Broadcom is not doing the best right now. Eli Lilly is trying to hold, but all right, we'll look at that a little later. So we see we're doing this little bit of a pullback right there. Still no kind of order flow event outside of the one that we missed.
Block cell.
Still very light action here. This is that like this little compression that I'm talking about. Possibility that we may have a little leg lower, or excuse me, we may have some impulsive move from this area given the compression. Let me say that low or high. This is where you would place your risk, place your bets, have your stop. It's where you can get into trouble if you don't have a stop. Yeah, and if I were to go long, we'll have to figure out who we want to long. It would have to be the ES. I'm not seeing any kind of pullback. Okay, good. So we're having like a nice little push. We want to see if we come back, fill this in. You still got NQ that's still holding. I kind of want to throw a bid. No. So this, if it's 50-50 and you can't tell, that's what I just said. There's no reason for me to take this thing. Again, this looks like a play that I have. However, when I'm looking at this objectively, this feels like this is just a bot, just pure information, not using like past, not using any past situation, just looking at this with fresh eyes. This feel like that this is a bullish case. So where's the problem? It would have to be me. I'm gonna put a bid in. Shit, I did by ask. All right, no worries. You just got like it's gonna be like a 2.5 point stop below the 59 half. Really not even at this one. I definitely wouldn't mind. Wait, what's with the IB mid? I'd be like 7 points. Targeting it had to be HOD. 71, 75. Hmm. So yeah, I got in at 62. See if this actually holds. My stop right now is at 58, but we'll see about that. That's under the VPOC. Only got in because of the way NQ is kind of trading right now.
Block buy.
If it wouldn't mess up the bid and offer column, I would switch this to half. 2 50-cent ticks instead of a whole point. So the breakout is
Block
above
cell.
64. So once we get above 64, we should have like a little push. NQ is already a little above their breakout, which is at their VWAP. If this comes back, possibility I may get out. But this is a bit of a structured, more of like a position, kind of like well, not even position. It's more of like a scalp play. We just have some trap sellers, hopefully to have them stopped out. Given the support zone that we have here, and I stuck with ES because they're the leaders so far. And if we can get the help of tech, that's not gonna do anything but just help us more. So we'll see. Uh, yeah, as of right now, my stop is, hold on. And so you can see where my stop is. But my thing is, does that make sense? But the stop is at the 58s, which would be down here. Again, we've taken price risk over information risk. Look at these in the hourly candle. And again, we did a fair amount of analysis before. It's a very nice candle on the NQ. Didn't notice that. Well, I mean, I didn't look, but I just like the way that looks. Nice close. This is the third 3-minute bar of the bracket. Put it on brief mute, drink some water, take a little break.
Block sell. block by, block cell,
Man, I just had a whole compassionate explanation of how I came in and got oriented. I was just saying that I truly appreciated the opportunity that I've had, even if I do get stopped out here, for me to, I mean, or align this, having the ability to come in from running my errand and get immediately oriented and weigh pros and cons on both sides, being able to coil my intuitive response, which is go short. This looks like a similar play that we have. I can actually show you here, so I'm not just talking from the side of my mouth, I think is what it says. I don't know. One second. I'll find it for you and show you. But being able to, so this looks similar to this, where this 7 is. At the time, again, you didn't see this leg up. Crap. You didn't see this leg up that we're having. So it was, yeah, it was end up being like this. So not the same exact situation, but it looked quite similar enough to kind of alert me like, hey, you may want to be aware of this. Doesn't mean I had to impulsively act on it. It's just information. I'm sure other
block
people are
by,
maybe thinking the same thing. Notice how we go up and there's no it's completely like vacant. I don't really care for that, but I do the thing that's balancing this is that you have a little bitty little icebergs
block
that was
cell,
here, a little passive buyer that was holding this down for a little bit, and now we're
block
eating
by,
back up that area, and you have people liquidating. You can see these block orders, but I digress. We're getting ready to potentially pierce the 7 a.m. SOC high again, which is just like a little roadmap that we have here, which will leave us just a couple of points from the high, and then we'll be looking at our target there. I do want to take a look at the market profile because I haven't looked at it in a while. And let us not forget, we do have some nice selling that came in for a little bit and it will sustain. I won't be surprised if we head back to these 65s. If we don't, then that's pretty solid. We're out of value for NQ, so I won't be surprised if we see, this would be a 13-point pullback here. Same situation for the ES, which is why, yeah, this is considered expensive. Regardless, this is objectively expensive for this day because you have the majority of your value here, and that's just a bit of a markup. So
block
it's
cell,
unsurprising to see our first occurrence out. It gets hit with some. immediate profit taking. And I chose the word profit taking for that specific reason because I think these are buyers that are selling opposed to people balancing lower, which may be the case, which is why I want to look at the profile and kind of see where we're at because again, this is lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, higher high, higher lows. And now we're kind of like in that gray zone ish again. You know what I mean? So at this point, we're going to go ahead and move our stop up to break even, possibly. Putting our stop back at 62, which means we would need to break. Not going to be able to see it on this profile. Going back to 62 would be breaking the previous candle, the one before that, the one before that, and the impulse candle that got us out of here. If we break out of that and a tick lower, actually, I'm going to put this under the IB high for about 50 cents. Based off where we're at, I want to use structure and not my entry because I'm not important. Yeah, we'll put it at the 58 quarter. So this will end up being a 3.5 point stop, right? If I'm looking at this correctly. Sorry, I can't really tell. I just don't know. It just looks a little weird on my screen. I apologize. Oh no, I'm sorry. So yeah, this ended up being like about a point. Actually, I'm gonna bring it down to the 60 because I do like the little higher highs and higher lows that we had. So I got about the 60 here, which on the MES is a little different. This is that profit taking and that selling that I was talking about.
Block sell.
So I want to see if there's going to be some kind of a hold. And then this will be the situation where we move our stop if we impulse out of a coiling consolidated range. Because just the higher highs and higher lows, it doesn't really get me too excited, especially when we're in a lower range balance kind of environment. That's my thought process there. I'm sorry, let me get this off this full screen. Much more selling than I like to see. Ideally, I would have liked to do a little snapshot on the quote book to see where we're at. We hit the top of that range and sold off. We'll see if we have any kind of yeah. We'll just see what's happening here. I really don't want to look too much into this. I want to take a look at the footprint as I came back. I left about here towards the end here. So we had sellers, nice positioning. We were able to break that low. We got some buyers in here as well. Next candle, we got a fair amount of sellers, but the delta is positive. The delta for the 730 to 8 for the C bracket is quite high for sellers. So these guys will be on the water. At this point, every seller, at least that we see here for the imbalances, are underwater. So I'd imagine we can at least pop up this high. And if we do pop up this high, this would be above the RTHs, huh? But we're still underwater regarding the overnight section here, which is going to be just lighter in general. So you would take that with a grain of salt. Just saying. So I mean, the absolute high is going to be 72, which was like the original target, and we'll see what we're looking at there. But if we can have like a nice little impulse here, especially on a Friday, we made a comment earlier that sellers or buyers rather would maybe not want to take home this risk over the weekend. I guarantee you, motherfucking sellers are not going to want to take out this risk for being negative. as we're heading near all-time highs, this can get ugly. Just saying. So I mean, in my head, this was like a decent risk. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, price squawk wasn't too bad in my absence. All right, we are 30 seconds for this candle. Again, we have not broken the high of that previous 3 minute bar for ES, but we have for NQ like a couple ticks. And I don't think I mentioned it. Now notice there's a lot of buyers there, and there's a passive seller here. But very nice impulsive candle that's quite threatening. We have an impulse candle, a full body bull bar at the top of the range of the SOC high, threatening the HOD. For NQ, we're already past that reference point. Using hindsight, NQ may have been the better option. That was a nice sell attempt for sellers. We definitely have some sellers up here. Value is moving higher, by the way. I believe. I could be wrong. But NQ is above their 7 a.m. SOC high. Just something to think about. It would have been a nice idea to kind of look a little deeper there for next time using our SOC reference because it seems like I'm using it to fit my own narrative, which I mean that's kind of what we're doing. However, if we're being objective, then it would be paradoxical to curve fit something and be objective at the same time. It's just impossible. Or I mean, it's not possible. So yeah, I still would have to find a way for me to get in, which is the benefit of using the order flow. I don't need to look at a specific candle for a close. Ideally, having a candle close be ideal for a narrative standpoint or quote unquote confirmation. But I can use the order flow to actually like really drill down, minimize my risk, and say, hey, based off of this narrative and all this context that we have, this whole story that's being told, when there's a small imbalance here, I would assume there may be some kind of continuation. Because what the information that I'm looking at, this is going to be like motherfuckers being trapped, people needing to get out. So I think that's why it's important to understand just the whole urgency of the way orders work and when you're a seller, you're a buyer, so on and so forth. Speaking of when you're a seller, you're a buyer, you become a buyer afterwards. What is the delta for the day? I would imagine it's still positive. Yeah, just a little positive. About neutral for NQ. This may be a situation where I just need to like walk away. 'Cause I think this is just gonna be like low, just in general. Yeah, I'm working on another task at the moment, so I'm not really playing not too attentive here. So I mean, I have like an extended target. It's up near like 5,600 basically. So I was reading something. My apology. Okay, that's what it was. Um, Let me not say I'm thinking. So I have an extended target that's pretty far because I understand that just where we're at, and I don't want to like limit the market. But I do have like a specific target for extra range, basically. It's near the 5,600. It should be yeah, it's near the 5,600. I will be somewhat monitoring this and drill it. I may bring my target down a bit more, kind of seeing how we auction above the high if we do burst through this high. We do have 40, we have about 30 seconds until it's the end of the euro close. There will be some orders that flow in 25 seconds. We'll see if it's going to be anything favorable for our position rather. Yeah, we got about 10 seconds. Or if it's going to be a situation of, oh man, we didn't make it to the highs. Let me let me liquidate real quick.
Block buy.
Looks like it may be the latter if the buyers don't pick this up. But this can be a nasty sell candle. Absolutely, that's one of those little compression bars that I'm referring to. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on mute and take care of some items.
Block by. Block by. Block by. Block by. blocked by, blocked by, blocked by, block cell, block cell,
All right, just giving an update. So of course, I did close this trade here. Just ended up having my just ended up having my take profit up here. So I mean that's fine. I'm not gonna. I just want to go ahead and kind of get in and get out. We ended up doing our job. We got more than our 2 to 1. That was really like a 4 point risk. So that was like 3 to 1. Let's get in, get out. Let's focus. Let's go home. Next trade. Um, yeah, next trade. I'm not with this shit. Yeah, we definitely can have a little more excursion. This really isn't the time for that. I have some other projects that I'm working on right now. I want to get out and enjoy my day. I could have let this sit here a little bit, maybe a personal issue on my side, but we got past our 2 to 1. We even got our 3 to 1. Maybe if we had used two different contracts, we would have handled that a little differently. But it's fine. I'm not gonna sweat it. We ended up having our nice little mean reversion play with a little small little breakout. Got a few little extra points past that 3 to 1. Very very nice overall. So again, I really did like when we got in about here, I believe, somewhere like 62s, right? 62s. Yeah, somewhere around here. But yeah, we ended up getting in and um, just riding this five smooth and average. Very typically when we do that, we'll see more of like a trend up kind of day or a trend down kind of day when we're riding that. The trend down doesn't normally last for too long under the 5S, so we don't see it too often. Definitely more recently with the ES. Um, I could have done better. I definitely could have gotten on the side with the NQ, but that was just like a personal issue and caring a little too much about the numerical value of how much I will have to risk. I can always get back in on a potential test. I still think for the ES, coming back to this IB high is going to be even nicer second time because you have the IB high plus the double VWAP bands again, which held us down pretty well. So definitely a possibility that that'll look nice. So we're gonna go ahead and finish it for the day here and wrap up. Again, we did very well. I have not done my journal yet, so I do want to knock that out before I do anything else. And then I'm gonna go get some sunlight. So, all right, appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend. GG's.